Wholesale producer provider Taylor Farms is dealing with another foodborne illness outbreak. This one involves prepared products made with jalapeños in 26 states. A salmonella outbreak is linked to the peppers. CBS News correspondent Tom Hanson has details.
Hey there, yeah, well, this is the latest recall in a string of recalls concerning Taylor Farms. You may remember, first and foremost, they recalled lettuce that was sourced from Mexico due to concerns over cyclosporiasis. And now we're talking about jalapeños, jalapeno products going out to major grocery stores around the country, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and Kroger, among many others. And the products that we're talking about here are salsa, guacamole, and a variety of dips. Now, this comes on the heels of other products of concern being recalled over the weekend, meat products that also contained tainted jalapeños, also sourced from Mexico from a company called Coast Citrus Distributors, a wholesale fresh produce supplier and the suspected source of the outbreak. Now, in a statement, Taylor Farms said it is no longer sourcing products from this farmer and will be filling orders from alternative suppliers. I want to rewind, though, because this outbreak was brought to the attention of the USDA a week or two ago, when a number of people, roughly 100 cases in Minnesota, of people becoming ill from eating at Chipotle and Qdoba restaurants that reportedly had these jalapeno products in their stores. Chipotle switched to another supplier of jalapenos. Qdoba actually pulled the product altogether, but that outbreak has spread very quickly. At least 345 salmonella cases so far, 36 hospitalizations according to the FDA. And now we're monitoring to see if there are any other jalapeno products. I should also note that they came out, Taylor Farms came out and said that you should be looking for a best buy date of August 16th or sooner. That is important information. So go to your fridge, check if you've seen any of those products or if you bought any of those products, and toss them out so that you don't get sick. Back to you.
Tom Hanson, thank you. Brian Schaneberg joins us now. He's the executive director of the Institute for Food Safety and Health at the Illinois Institute of Technology. Look, somebody who maybe isn't steeped in the news day in and day out, they're like, oh my gosh, another outbreak. Is anything safe to eat? So how do potentially tainted products slip through the process?
So as you can imagine, when you're talking about a food supply chain as big as we consume in the United States, and then you start to look at fresh produce, which is grown, harvested, and immediately consumed, you can't test 100% of that product or even all the batches of that product coming to market. And so you have this risk scenario when you're doing healthy eating. At the same time, you've got potential contamination that is within that product. And it's the reason you can't just test away any risk at all.
Do you see any way in which this could be alleviated? Because I know that a lot of states say they're underfunded in terms of doing inspections. I know federally, we don't inspect every single place that we're getting food from. Do you think that that needs to change to prevent outbreaks like this?
So again, this will be a scenario where you can't still do 100% testing of the millions of products that we consume or bring into the country, even from other countries through our process. So the food safety system that we have today is preventive by definition. All facilities are open for audit by the US FDA, and they do audit those, whether it's in a risk scenario every year or in a scenario where it's less risk and maybe it's every few years. But because of that, you cannot still hire enough auditors to actually go into these plants and be in these plants every day and then run actual tests that may involve the water usage that the products are being used in an agricultural commodity, or then when you go through the entire supply chain, where you have multiple touch points, the more you processes it to get to the actual consumer itself. And that's why fresh produce is one of the hardest of those to actually manage it on a daily basis. And then add the testing to that. Again, these tests take 3 to 5 days alone to get the actual response or answer to why something had a contamination in it. And then the trace back to actually understand were all of these individuals impacted by that same exact product. Take some time with memory recall, if you will.
So what is your advice to folks? What are you doing in your own household?
I still consume my fresh produce and vegetables. I still make sure I'm cleaning and washing those. If there is recalled product that is coming onto the market, I make sure I'm going to the FDA website. I'm ensuring that I don't have any of that product in my house because they will list out all the brands and those UPCs where you've gotten them from, throw them away or take them back to the source where you've got them to get a full refund. But in some cases, once it's a contaminated product like these jalapeños, I also then make sure I understand where it's coming from. So if you're just going to the store today and you're just going to buy a whole jalapeno, you're going to take it home and cook it or use it to make your own fresh product, those aren't part of this recall. So it's just really understanding the source it came from, and in this case being Mexico specifically.
Brian Schaneberg, thank you for your time and expertise.